Hello, this is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. Uh, this here is Daredevil 158 from 1979. Look at that corner box. And Comics Code Authority. This cover is by Frank Miller and Joe Rubinstein. Joe Rubinstein doing the inks, and this has the distinction of two great reasons. First, this is the debut of Frank Miller on Daredevil. Everything except for Daredevil's origin, everything that you know about Daredevil came from Frank Miller doing Daredevil. And Frank Miller, as you may know or may not know, he did Daredevil. He got famous on Daredevil, and then he went on to do the Batman, the Dark Knight, and that launched him into superstardom. He did Sin City. He did the 300. Then he destroyed his career by directing the Spirit movie, and the less said about that horrible whatever abomination, the better. The second thing is, this is the very first Daredevil comic I ever bought. And I say bought because it's not the first Daredevil comic I ever read. I don't know who gave it to me, but I remember being in a car going on a trip, and I was just given this Daredevil comic. Not this one, my first Daredevil comic. I got to fish that out. And I read that one over and over again on the trip. And then I just loved the character. And I remember telling you guys back then, this was before comic book stores, or at least back before I knew about any comic book stores. And it was hard to find comic. And Daredevil, like Doctor Strange, was a comic that was just hard to find. Stores were just given a package of comics every month. So I think it was based on what sold well. Or, if you kept returning a bunch of Fantastic Four comics, they're not going to send you that many Fantastic Four. So who knows? But Daredevil was just tough to find. So I tracked down the Daredevil, and I even remember where I bought this. I also said in the previous video that there was 3 candy stores that I would frequent to buy comics. That was where, up until high school, because in high school the comic book stores started opening, or junior high school rather. But in grammar school, there was 3 places that I would walk to. One of them was a candy store called Fred's that used to be Charlie's. That was right next door to my school, and I would go in there and get comics. And that guy Fred was a real good guy. He would hold comics in a stack for me, and every day I'd buy one. And he was just a real friendly, nice guy. The other store was a couple blocks away, and I would have to walk a different way to school to go there. And that guy, he didn't particularly like kids in the store. So when you went in there, it was like a timer went off, and you had to look through stuff before he would yell at you. And then sometimes you just buy anything because you were afraid. And I thought that he would kick me out and never let me come back in again, whatever. But that you went there when you couldn't, when you ran out of stuff over at Fred's. And then the third place was a place called Howie's, which was a little farther. See, I usually went there after school because I didn't want to be late to school. And Howie's was a weird old place that was like a candy store, stationery store. I think that's what they called it. And it's not there anymore. It's now a restaurant. But it was just like something that you saw out of old black and white movies. Howie was an old man. The guy was 900 years old, and the only thing older than Howie was his mother. And they lived in the back of the store. There was like an apartment in the back of the store. And it was really sad. I remember going in there a few times, and she would be wandering around in like nightgowns, like suffering from dementia. And Howie would apologize to me. Here I am, a little kid, and he's apologizing to me, but whatever. And Howie never returned comics, so there was always stacks and stacks and stacks and stacks of comics. So I'd go there, and they would always be a little bit beat up, but you could find stuff. And I remember looking through stuff, and I saw this cover, and that was it. I mean, for all I know, I bought it in 1980. I could have bought it later because it was just there. And look at this cover. It's like a poster for a horror movie. Just great. So I'm going to open the comic now after wasting your time for 4 minutes. Okay, so now here's this splash page. Look at the credits there. You see, lanky Frank Miller. Yeah, he was a skinny little guy at the time. And so Roger McKenzie is the writer, and Klaus Johnson is his inker. And Frank Miller and Klaus Johnson became like a famous team for a while. Joe Rosen, I think he's doing the letters, and Gio Rosso, I think, is doing the colors. And of course, Al Milgram and Jim Shooter are the editors. Just great editors that were willing to take risks. The indicia, let's get all this. 1979. So it is 1979. My original copy of this, it's still in my collection. It's all beat up. I didn't want to break that out because I don't know if it would photograph well with all the wrinkles and everything. It got well used. This is a replacement copy, collector's copy, because I'm insane. So this is the Black Widow. This is Natasha Romanoff, and she's protecting this. This is Becky Blake. She's after Karen Page left to go to Hollywood to become an actress, she became the secretary for Nelson and Murdoch, and she's in a wheelchair. And I think while she's a secretary, she actually goes to law school and becomes a lawyer herself. And eventually, she replaces Matt Murdock when Matt kind of goes off the deep end during the Shadowland story. And so Nelson and Murdoch becomes Nelson and Blake. And I think, well, that's Foggy. This is Heather. Oh, geez, that's going to drive me nuts that I can't remember her name. That's Matt Murdock's current girlfriend. And she's like the opposite of Natasha. She's fun, flighty, goofy, silly, up for partying at a moment. So Matt kind of needed some levity in his life and dated her. Heather, I don't know, I can't remember her name. And this is Foggy's high school girlfriend, another character whose name I can't remember. And they have a tragic, they end up getting married, and then they get divorced when she finds Foggy's too dull and she has an affair. It turns out the guy she's having an affair with is a criminal. It's all soap opera-y stuff. And Matt ends up breaking up with her because she's like a alcoholic, depressed, and stuff like that. And Matt just can't. He tries to save her, but he can't. Sometimes he can't save her anybody. So Natasha Romanoff, the Black Widow, is jumping around, fending off. These are the Annie Men. This is some silly villains from Daredevil's past. There's Matt over here, and they grab his cane. So that's Birdman, Ape Man, and Catman. And they're people in these cybernetic costumes that enhance their abilities. And they're paid mercenaries. So they showed up a few times in Daredevil. Here's Catman right here. They showed up a few times. They're just like a trio of step up from henchmen, goons that are a major villain will hire to rough up, or in this particular case they're getting Matt Murdock. So Ape Man grabs her by the hair and just flings her, and Matt's there's too many images flooding my radar sense. Can't begin to sort them out. I need time to think, room to maneuver. I've got to bless the Unholy Three. That's their name, the Unholy 3 from the storefront before anyone gets hurt. So at this point, they're working it. They have a little candy store type place, storefront for their law firm, and they do all like the pro bono stuff and everything. And here she takes. This is the woman in the wheelchair. She's tough. She's a tough girl. She throws this at Birdman. Birdman's like, oh, he's all groggy, and he goes to fly away, and there's Natasha. And I love that she just hits him in the power pack and just disables the power pack. So she takes out Birdman, but Catman and Ape Man, I can't believe I'm saying Catman and Ape Man, they escape with Matt Murdock because of plot. So here's banana stamps, the Fun Factory ads. We're seeing a lot of the same ads if you follow my channel, because I'm doing this era of Marvel Comics because they're just so good. Look at this artwork. So here she's taking out Birdman, and they're just leaving, and I got to follow them before it's too late. If I could just, Natasha, wait. Foggy's hurt. He needs your help. Besides, we both know Matt can take care of himself, if anyone can. Matt can't. By Lennon's beard. Does Heather know? Yeah. So Heather knows that he's Daredevil. So she's like, all right, let's help Foggy. So this is like I said, this is his high school sweetheart. They end up getting married, and then I think he runs for district attorney, and her father is an ex-con, so they're keeping it secret. So, these are all the women are trying to help Foggy, who's notoriously in bad shape. And I forget who it was that said that Daredevil, out of all the comic books, is a noir story, and they're absolutely right. And Neil Adams played up the noir, and then Neil Adams was he did a Daredevil run a couple of years before this, and since he's Frank Miller's mentor, I guess he's just like, yeah, it works. So he's the shadows, the fogs, the full moon, they're on the cityscape. Frank Miller, they said that he would just go around and photograph all the stuff on buildings, all the stuff that, we just ignore. And he would, just so he could incorporate it into his comics. And look at that. That looks like a real place. I wouldn't be surprised if that's, him just using a photograph for referencing and inserting them in. Like, look at all this. Antennas, steam. This is Manhattan. This is what Manhattan looked like in the 70s, guys. This is it. And here they are. There's always like clotheslines and tight ropes, stuff like that in Manhattan. I never see them. I guess what's that, the Flatiron Building? Here they are. Matt's Deathstalker, huh? You got to listen to me. Deathstalker's a cold-blooded and human killer. He's just been using you. And when you served your purpose, nice try, shyster, but it won't work. What could a stuffed shirt like you know about him besides? We're here. So here's this little graveyard. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Manhattan, there are these cool little old cemeteries just in the middle between buildings, like the size of a house lot. So that's not too far off. So they tie him up to a grave. Please, I'm begging you, don't go through this. Deathstalker is late. That's what he is. Where Blaze is, you can't wait here all night. So Ape Man's over here. Catman's getting impatient. I love this. Just this guy just looks strong. He looks powerful, right? Look at the cow. Look at from the Muslim. The cat will get much more. Hey, it's him. It's Deathstalker. In fact, you'll both get everything that's coming to you, and so will your missing partner. But enough of business. I bid you welcome at Murdoch. I've been waiting for you. How we should say, open arms. Michael Murdoch, may he burn in hell. And look at that shovel. Just a great shot. I just love that panel. And look, okay, this is page 10. Look at all of this that's happened. So much has happened. And now the obligatory monologuing by the villain. So he used to be a villain called the Exterminator. Okay? Daredevil 41, June 1968. So here he's fighting the Exterminator. And the MacGuffin machine. Oh no, don't. And since you casually destroyed my awesome time-space displacement ray, because, everybody has a time-space. I love that. You build a time-space displacement ray and you rob banks. But what do I know? Catching me fully in the time-shattering explosion. How long has it been since I was hurtled through the fabric of time? And what you believed to be my death proved instead of my macabre rebirth. I found myself in a timeless limbo, unobserved. I could go anywhere, do anything. Secrets were mine for the taking, and so I took. It was child's play to steal AIM, blueprints for a prototype cybernetic death grip, advanced idea mechanics. AIM was a secret society actually they weren't so secret. They were a society of scientists who pursued science and just ignored all morality and law. So, a lot of they worked with a lot of supervillains, and they were like the nerd version of Hydra. And he linked them to his gloves, so now he has a death touch device. Marvel poster pandemonium. Look at these posters. I love that poster. Such a good poster. So cool. Look what a penny could buy. Magnet traction cars. Buy this car at a regular price. Alright, so you buy one at a regular price, get one for a penny, guys. See Iron Man 116. Because of him, my former henchman, the original Unholy 3, perished. So yeah, this is the replacement Unholy 3. So it's just suits. So he's given the suits to 3 more. They were fools, a lot of them, but they were loyal fools. And this new group only works for money. Listen, you're sick, you need help. So here they are counting up the money. And silence, counselor, this is not a court of law. Deathstalker, he had me. Oh no. So here he is. Catman, Ape Man, look out behind you. Daredevil's a good guy. He doesn't want anybody to die. And his big thing is he's blind justice. You have to go through law. So at night he'll beat you up. And then during the day he'll actually defend you because, everybody needs a fair trial. What's Matt Murdoch yapping about? Gentlemen, it has been a pleasure. So he just flat out murders them. But it's okay. They're just goons. Give those suits to somebody else. So Daredevil's, it's too late. He murdered them in cold blood. but he had nothing to gain by that death except Deathstalker. You gave me the time I needed to free myself. You knew I would. That's all you wanted all along. No, Murdoch, I want Daredevil. Oh, I see. It had to come down to this sooner or later. So here he is. He has this cane, and when he pops the cane, the hook, tack, it spring activated and it snaps, and that becomes his billy club. So now he's got 2 billy clubs. And this is what Daredevil, he uses his radar sense, and the radar sense like fills out like outlines. So is he blind? I don't know. He could see like silhouettes and stuff like that, I guess. And I love this. They color his eyes red because why not? You know, he can't see anyway. So thump, thump. He hears the heartbeats, and I guess he hears the energy crackle from his death gloves. Great panel. And Deathstalker lunges at him. Daredevil grabs these arms because he can't let the hands touch him. So here he is holding the hands, and I love this energy trail. Little kick to the nads, and here he goes. Like, it took me a while. I thought he just ran off panel, but he actually phased through the wall. So this is how I found out about one of his powers. So he's out of sync with the space-time continuum, and he could pass through. But it's best if you don't think of it in scientific terms. Think of it like gothic horror film noir terms. He's a freaking ghost, you know. Just comes out up here and jumps down, and he didn't hear him because he was out of phase, so he's not even interacting with the air molecules. That's what Daredevil, like, he'll hear you. He goes, a rustling cape. So he hears him when he became solid enough, and he ducks, and you know, moves out of here. Daredevil's flipping around. I need to keep. If I want to keep alive, I got to keep moving. So here he's laughing as he's goading him. He's moving his hands around to get Daredevil to go where he wants. So where does he want him to go? Of course, into the grave. So he drops Daredevil into the grave. And Captain America, the mighty Marvel flying shield, because Captain America's shield has 3 faces on it. But still, this is pretty cool. This offer is available to true believers anywhere. So if you subscribe to these comics, get a flying shield. Pretty cool deal, that one. So here, I love this. He's grabbing the shovel and he's energizing the shovel with this death energy, and he just throws it like a missile. That was close, too close. If Deathstalker thinks I'm going to take this line, he's got another thing coming. I've always loved this, with like a burst of agility. Just the after images. Here's Daredevil jumps up, repels off that, flies, and then he phased out before I could touch him. I can't keep this pace up much longer. My first mistake. So he's getting tired. The Fantastic Four, rotten. This cartoon was just rotten. I wanted to like it. I gotta say, I've been nothing but disappointed. Fantastic Four are my favorite comic of all time. I just have so much invested in the Fantastic Four emotionally. And anything but the comics has been terrible. The movies have been terrible, everything. And come on, Kevin Feige, Marvel Cinematic Universe, I'm begging you, do not mess up the Fantastic Four. Please, I'm begging you. Okay, customize your van. Oh, wow, that's pretty cool. Customize your van. All right, that's a cool ad. So here's Daredevil. He's getting tired. Here's the bodies of Catman and Ape-Man. So Birdman actually got off easy because Natasha only beat the crap out of him. So he was reaching out with his radar sense. He's picking up the light post. He throws the billy club, and he's laughing. You fool, don't you know I could phase out? And talk. You see these little, they're like spring activated. So when it hits, they suck in, and then they shoot out. So pop. Momentum, physics defying, but spack, patak. So he throws it here, ricochets, knocks the light out, and I cannot see you in the darkness. Where are you, Daredevil? So it's so dark. That's one of the Daredevil standard techniques. Is one of the first things he does, since he's blind and doesn't need the light. He always seems to take out the lights. Why not? He doesn't need the light, so give himself a tactical advantage. Spack, Daredevil, and they always drew the outline of the DD. It's just like an artistic choice. So here he is. He's fighting blind, so Daredevil has the advantage. He's coming out and, reaches out. Yes, I have you. Daredevil. Little cliffhanger. Sexy chicks. And it's the statue. It's an angel statue. What have you done? I've been tricked. Where are you? And now he smashes his freaking hands. I love that. thwack, just beats the crap out of his hands. Look how powerful Daredevil looks. He's not overly muscular or anything, but he just looks like, what's the word, like just tight, like coiled iron and stuff like that. And then Spakow just hits him with the billy club, just knocks his head off. No, and he phases through the tombstone. He goes, "Give it up, Deathstalker. It's over. Perhaps time with proper help." He goes, "Damn you, Murdoch. Damn you, Deathstalker. Don't you see where you are?" He's out of his mind with. He's becoming solid, and he dies. He was a madman, an insane, inhuman murderer. He brought death to everyone in touch and finally caught him. So he solidified while still, he couldn't feel it because he was ghost-like. So I guess he didn't know. He wasn't paying attention to where he was. He was single-mindedly focused on his rage. Turned solid and dies, materializing inside of a tombstone. May God have mercy on his soul. They're advertising this comic. Thor's flying by. Let's see now. Brains over brawn. So they're firing a tank at Iron Man. Iron Man fights and fights repulsor rays. What's this? He throws fruit pies. No. I will not. I refuse this. I reject this with every fiber of my being. Fruit pies are just awful. So here they are back having coffee. Why can't I remember her name? Are you all right? Yes, Heather, just a little tired. It's Blake. She's not Blake. That's Blake. Why can't I remember her name? Marcia? It's been a long day. Let's call. Are you coming? It's been a while. I got to do some work. I'll see you in the morning. I'm exhausted. Sometimes I don't know which is fighting crime is able or wrestling with. Thought I heard Natasha. No, it must have been my nation. Natasha or Mac. I know I'm not half the woman she is, but I'll always be here. So she was reaching out to comfort him, and he's calling for Natasha, which is pretty crummy considering that he's with Heather at the time. But that's one thing. Matt Murdock was a player. He was a full-on, unabashed player. He had women all over him. Believe it or not, I was looking for the Defenders when I found Daredevil. So I wanted to do a Daredevil. The startling non-group. I never understood that. And here's Doctor Strange, Ed, and Power Man and Iron Fist. Believe it or not, these were Doctor Strange, Defenders, Power Man and Iron Fist, and Daredevil were like the 4 comics that were impossible for me to find as a kid. I don't know if they were just low sellers or they didn't sell well in my area or whatever, but I could never find these comics. And here we got Toy Soldiers for $1.75. So it's on the back. Oh, Battlestar Galactica, full color t-shirts. The Invasion, the Galactica. I always thought the Galactica. Boxy and Daggett. I hate them. The Cylons. And here's the poster for the original pilot episode, movie, whatever you want to call it. That's Cassiopeia, Dirk Benedict Starbuck, Boxy and Daggett, Apollo, Andromeda, and Adama. Yeah. Incredibly beautiful shirts. Fantastic. So there you go. That's Daredevil 158. Such a classic comic. So good. I recommend, if you want to get some back issues of Daredevil, there's, in the early, double digits numbers, there's some hokey issues. But from this point on in Daredevil, phenomenal. For the next 100 issues, there's hardly a miss. You could, I guarantee you could go 100 issues, so up to 250, 258 or so, 260, and you will get some great stuff because you can have Frank Miller run. Then I think the Frank Miller run ends around 212, and then you can have the Ann Nesenti. Just so good, just so good. You're gonna have 100 issues. What is that? 5 years of just great comics. And I was a kid. I missed most of this stuff. It wasn't. I'd get a Daredevil here or there. I didn't. It didn't have laser beams and space invaders, stuff like that, and science fiction, which I wanted as a kid. This was just crime noir, more down to earth. This guy was a ghost and stuff like that. But you see how Frank Miller made it more earthy, more dark, more realistic. But just so good, so good. Daredevil is another character that just brings out the best in writers. And there you go. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. That was fun. Nice trip down memory lane. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.